The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet. On demand on iTunes, on demand on YouTube, and syndicated by our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio to cable systems serving an additional 12 million households. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten. We have a great show for you today. The second half of the show, infamous, internationally known pickup artist Neil Strauss will be here to tell you the secrets of getting lucky. And even Boaz Frankel, our show producer, even you, Boaz Frankel, Neil Strauss guarantees that if you read his book and follow the exercises for a 30-day period, within 30 days you will get lucky and have a significant other of the opposite sex on your arm that you can bring on to Paltalk and show off to the rest of us. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to send Boaz a copy of the book, and by the end of January, we anticipate that he will be sitting there with a woman by his side, because we're all feeling a little worried about you there, Boaz. But for the first half of the show, even more interesting, I have three of the members of the cast of the new movie that is coming out on Christmas Day, The Great Debators. And it's a fictional story, but it's inspired by a true life situation. Back in the 1930s, Wiley College? Mm-hmm. Wiley College, which was located in Louisiana?
Marshall, Texas.
Marshall, Texas. Okay. They had a debate team. It's a black college. Nobody gave these kids, this is back in the 30s during Jim Crow, any possibility that they could survive as debaters against the big boys, the Ivy League, the white schools, because of the prejudice that occurred back then. And yet, this college put together a debate team that stood up head-to-head, toe-to-toe with these other colleges. And not only did they stand up against them, they were successful. It was a winning team, and it showed back then, back in the days of perhaps the worst times of prejudice against African Americans that one could expect, that people of color could excel here in the United States of America. And they decided when they wrote the film, based on a short story that appeared that detailed a little bit of what happened, they reached out to Denzel Washington and asked him to direct it, and he ended up starring in it, and they picked these three young, terrific actors to represent members of the debate team. I welcome Denzel Whitaker, Journey Smollett, did I say it right? Smollett?
Smollett, yeah.
Smollett, and Nate Parker. Welcome to News Talk Online at Paltalk.com.
Great to be here. Thank you for having us.
So, one of the things that really interests me about how this all came about is you didn't just walk up and act or read the lines. You guys had to learn how to be debaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was that like? You guys went to a boot camp or something and had to learn how to debate? Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Boot camp.
A debating boot camp, right?
Yeah, it was a debating boot camp. It was fun. Mm-hmm. It bonded us as teammates, really. We're sitting at home watching CNN at night and reading the local newspapers, just trying to find out information.
Right.
And under the teachings of Dr. Friedman, he taught us at Texas Southern University.
Right.
Basically, he wanted to see if we had sink or swim. Denzel, designed this program in coordination with Dr. Friedman. Mm-hmm. Basically, together, over the course of 2 days, they were going to teach us the styles of parliamentary and impromptu debate.
What's the difference?
One is just off the top of your head. You come in, you get a subject, and you only get to read it for like 1 or 2 minutes, mm-hmm. and then you formulate your whole thesis, your topics, and you stand up, and basically you have to roam in kind of like a triangle and present your points. While parliamentary is more of the formal style of debate you see today. The actual style we used in the movie was Lincoln Douglas.
Parliamentary.
It's like parliamentary.
No, it's different than parliamentary.
It's different than parliamentary, but they're similar. I guess, yeah?
Yeah, parliamentary is what they use in Parliament currently today. the whole format and the style, the way they break down the way you argue. But Lincoln Douglas is similar in the sense that you have something to affirm or negate, and you have an opponent. And impromptu, the style that the way we learned impromptu was pretty much it's just you.
So I could throw out a topic at you and tell you to take one side or the other, and you got to take that side?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put you on the spot, right? I'm just saying, as for example. And did you have to take both sides? Of the issue?
No, well, not for each proposition that we were given, no. No.
Well, how it worked is those two on the team, and I was with the fourth debater, Jermaine Williams.
Right.
So we started, I'd say, in like a bracket, and we debated. Didn't debate against each other. Won by that time, you know. But yeah. So and sometimes my team, Jermaine and I, had a different topic or the same topic on the negative if they had the affirmative of the same. And so you never know what you're going to get until you get it. And sometimes this team can have the affirmative, and my team can be going against someone else with the negative. You know what I mean? Just like whoever you go against, you're opposite. But sometimes we can have the same thing in different parts of the bracket.
So as you did this, did you learn something about American history, the sad part of American history that doesn't get taught too much in school?
Yeah, it really does not get taught a lot, especially that this whole chunk from post-Civil War up until Civil Rights Movement, a lot of it is kind of brushed up under the rug. And there's this whole phase to American history that we don't really hear much about. And that's one of the things that appealed to us, and that's why we were so passionate about the project, is because we're part of something that is bigger than us, you know, giving voice to the voiceless. This story is not in our textbook. Neither is, Tolstoy in general. I mean, he's a talented poet, and he really doesn't get his due because he's not considered part of the Harlem Renaissance. You know, the Harlem Renaissance does get a certain amount of coverage, not enough, but it does get a certain amount of coverage. But since he was in East Texas, he's not considered part of the Harlem Renaissance. His talent has come.
Right, because I wasn't aware of this. I mean, there are a lot of things, obviously, that happen in our history that we don't know about, but this is pretty significant, I think. And it's amazing that somebody saw this story in a magazine and decided to bring it to life on the big screen. So, what are your feelings today? Have we gone far enough in resolving the disparity between the races in the United States, or do you still feel like we have a way to go here in the United States?
Well, I'll say there's something I say sometimes. I don't think that the progress of society should be dictated by the exception of rule. You know what I mean? I think that when considering how far we've come as a country, especially with racial relations, I don't think it's fair for us to only take the people that have made strides to our recollection. Like, okay, Obama's running for president, so there's no race issue. You know, I think that the interesting part of that time period is that a lot of our identity as America lies, underground in that area, in this area that we kind of it's kind of taboo. You don't really talk about lynchings. You don't really talk about the whole Jim Crow South as when it was in its full swing. We only bring it up when we were talking, even when it was almost what you would call rectified. Another thing is like Denzel talks about on the cover of Ebony magazine is Denzel and Oprah, and it's talking about them working on this project.